back into a special storm alert edition of Abrams and Bettis Beyond the Forecast live on the Weather Channel. Mike Bettis is in Houston, Texas. Coming up, he is going to talk about the intensity of Ike, currently in Category 2, but it could become a Category 3. I'm, of course, meteorologist Stephanie Abrams live on Galveston Island, Texas. Not too far from Mike here. Of course, we are very exposed right on the Gulf of Mexico. So let's talk about this island of 6,000 people. 60,000 people, of course, is not very large, and we are really just over a bridge to the mainland. If that bridge goes out, then we're going to have a lot of trouble getting home. And then you take 45, about 55 miles north up to Houston, and of course, that's where Mike Bettis is reporting live. There's Galveston Bay. There's a lot of water surrounding both of us. If this system makes landfall just south of Galveston, we will see significant surge in Galveston and also up towards Houston. All that water.
You know why the satellite blinks out like that?
No.
It can't read the clouds during the nighttime. But it almost looks like it just disappears.
Not as much surge in Houston or here on the east side of the island. Surge is only one concern we have with Hurricane Ike. Tornadoes is another. Let's bring in our severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes, to detail the tornado threat. And of course, Dr. Forbes, a lot of people remember Ivan and Rita, both prolific tornado makers. Do we anticipate Ike to be the same?
Certainly have the possibility for several dozen tornadoes. We'll be watching those areas off to the right of the path. And even before Ike makes landfall, we can have some of those rain bands coming onshore with that tornado threat. Let's take a look here. As Ike takes a path Friday into Saturday morning, we'll have off to the right of that, where the moist air comes onshore, chance of tornadoes Friday into the Friday night time frame across parts of East Texas and Louisiana. Some of that could there's even a slight chance tonight, but it will really increase tomorrow afternoon, then tomorrow night. Then as Ike heads farther north, the moisture will be pulled farther inland, so all the way to southeast Oklahoma, south Arkansas, as well as parts of Texas, Louisiana. On Saturday, you'll have a tornado threat. And then as Ike heads northeast, gets accumulated with a frontal zone, some of that low pressure could pull moisture all the way up to the Ohio River Valley. So we'll watch out Sunday, even pretty far from the Gulf Coast, for a possibility of tornadoes. So Stephanie, Ike is going to bring very heavy rain and a threat for tornadoes many, many hundreds of miles away from its landfall position.
Let's talk more about that rain, because I feel like you say rainfall, and a lot of people here around the Houston-Galveston area instantly think Allison. We don't have another Allison on our hands, do we? But, I mean, you could see locally 15 inches in some places, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. A foot or more. Allison stalled out, so we're not expecting that to happen here, but certainly a foot, perhaps 15 inches, as you say, in the Galveston area. Let's take a look. Here is the situation Saturday. As Ike pushes onshore, it will carry the rain with it up into Oklahoma. And then as Ike's low begins to connect with that frontal zone, the heavy rain will push itself mainly along and north of the frontal zone, begin spreading out all the way across St. Louis up toward the Detroit area. And then we get into Monday, it won't be raining quite as heavily as Ike accelerates, but all the way to Maine we'll feel the moisture from the remnants of Ike. So by the time it's all said and done, now through Monday, especially down in Texas there, 12, perhaps 15 or more inches of rain in some parts of the area. Then Ike begins to accelerate, but still up in the Ozarks, 6, perhaps 10 inches of heavy rain, and then farther off to the north and east. And I should point out that frontal zone giving Childress, Texas today 4 inches, parts of Illinois 3 inches. So it's going to be falling on saturated ground. So we'll have flooding to go along with this, and river flooding probably for days after it passes.
Dr. Forbes, we certainly appreciate your expertise, and we have breaking weather news we want to tell you about here on Abrams and Bettis. The hurricane hunters just got a peak wind of 139 miles an hour. That's Category 4 force winds. Again, this is just a gust, but it is still a peak wind. The pressure has been dropping. Typically, when you see the pressure drop, you see those winds.
Dude, we might be going to Cat 4.
Until now, again, a new peak wind of 139 miles an hour. That can do significant damage to buildings and most certainly mobile homes. So who's going to see rain? Who's going to see wind? Who's going to see cool temperatures in the next 6 days? Carl has the answer in your weekly planner.